I never imagined I would find myself in a situation where the very woman I trusted with my heart would turn my life upside down. My wife Meera and I had been married for 6 years. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but I believed love, compromise, and patience could overcome any challenge. I was wrong. It started with small changes. Her coming home late, avoiding eye contact, spending hours on calls she claimed were work-related. I brushed it off, convincing myself it was just stress from her new job at a marketing firm. But deep down, I felt something was off. The truth hit me like a thunderbolt one evening. I had come home early, wanting to surprise her with dinner. The moment I stepped into the apartment, I noticed a pair of unfamiliar shoes by the door, and the faint scent of her perfume mixed with another. It was subtle, but unmistakable. I froze, trying to calm my racing thoughts. Then my phone buzzed with a notification from her laptop, a message from her boss, Arjun, full of flirtatious emojis and intimate language. I confronted her immediately. Meera's expression shifted from surprise to panic. She didn't deny it. She admitted that she had been having an affair with Arjun for months. My world collapsed. Every memory, every promise we had made felt like a cruel joke. I wanted to scream, cry, disappear, but the worst revelation was yet to come. A few weeks later, Meera dropped the next bombshell. She was pregnant. My mind raced, heart sinking with a mix of anger and disbelief. I asked her, trembling, whose child it was. She didn't hesitate. It was Arjun's. And then she said something that made my blood run cold. I don't want to raise this child, she said, her eyes brimming with tears. I want you to do it. I can't. I'm leaving Arjun soon, but I can't give up my career. I need you to raise my baby. I stared at her, speechless. The betrayal wasn't just emotional. It was now life-altering. She was asking me to raise the child of the man she cheated on me with. The audacity of her request shook me to my core. I told her I needed time to think. I couldn't make such a monumental decision in the heat of anger and heartbreak. Nights passed, filled with sleeplessness and endless questions. How could she do this? How could I even consider raising this child? Would I be a father to someone who wasn't mine? Could I forgive her or even myself for allowing this situation to define me? In the end, I realized something crucial. My life, my self-respect, and my future mattered more than trying to salvage a marriage that had been broken beyond repair. I filed for divorce, keeping my dignity intact, and made it clear that I would not take responsibility for a child that wasn't mine. Meera's tears, her pleas, and her promises meant nothing. Actions speak louder than words, and her actions had betrayed everything I once held sacred. The divorce process was painful, not just because of the legalities, but because of the emotional roller coaster it brought. Mutual friends took sides, gossip spread, and every interaction reminded me of the betrayal. Yet amidst the chaos, I found a strange clarity. I realized that life would go on, and I had the power to shape my own future. Months later, I moved into a small apartment of my own, focusing on my career, my passions, and my personal growth. I met people who valued honesty, integrity, and loyalty, qualities I had once thought were universal, only to learn they were not. I found solace in the simple things: early morning runs, books, and the quiet satisfaction of reclaiming my independence. Meera eventually had her baby, but she raised the child on her own. I never regretted my decision. The experience taught me a vital lesson. No one should bear the burden of another's mistakes, and no love is worth sacrificing your self-respect. It was a painful truth, but it was liberating. I also learned to forgive, not for her sake, but for mine. Forgiving didn't mean forgetting or reconciling. It meant releasing the grip of bitterness and reclaiming my peace of mind. Life, I realized, was too short to be defined by betrayal. It was defined by resilience, by the courage to walk away from toxicity, and by the strength to rebuild oneself. Looking back, I see the entire ordeal as a turning point. I went from being blindsided, heartbroken, and betrayed to being empowered, independent, and emotionally stronger than ever. The divorce wasn't a failure, it was liberation. And Meera? She learned her own lessons, but her choices no longer had the power to affect my life. Sometimes people ask me how I managed to endure something so devastating. My answer is simple: I chose myself. I chose my dignity over anger, my future over resentment, and my peace over chaos. And in doing so, I discovered that the ultimate revenge against betrayal is not hatred, It's living well, unapologetically, and with unwavering self-respect.